Welcome back. Now, it is my pleasure to be seated right here with our final guest. You saw him perform earlier on today, but did you know exactly who was performing for you? Wow, the AMVCA winner himself, Tolulope Obanro. He is a Nigerian film composer, and he's been nominated for the Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Awards 3 times for Best Soundtrack category. He won the Best Music Score at the AMVCA 2025 as the composer of 7 Doors. He also created the scores for Jagun Jagun in 2023, A Tribe Called Judah in 2023 as well, which became the first Nollywood movie to hit 1 billion at the box office. Now, he's also won the awards at the Headies for 2025 as well. It's great to have you, Tolulope.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
And that's it. That's the award right there. And I have to say, it's heavier than it looks.
Yes,
wow. I would like to thank the Academy. Okay, you know, everybody does that when they hold on the award. But this is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now musical score is something we don't really talk about as much as I wish we did. But without the music and the score and the sound design of a film, imagine watching a film with no sound.
Yeah.
It would be completely flat.
Yes.
And people like you work on this back to back.
Yes.
Let's talk about how this journey started and what exactly goes into the score of a Nigerian movie.
Okay. My journey started way back as a teenager, like say 14, 15, when I first just saw a keyboard that could have like sequence. What I mean by sequence is you can have one instrument play under another, under another. So, I mean, I just started playing piano well then, but I was like, okay, I should be able to make something out of this. And then, boom, was the first one. That's for just making music. So, along the line, I think I made a lot of music, a lot of gospel music actually. For artists like Mike Abdul, Tosibi, Nicola Shiri, and all that. Then in 2013, 14, I think I did some YouTube movies and all of that. Then came 2019, I met Dr. Bayo Adekwetu, and Dr. Bayo was like, "Oh, kid, you're good. Let's do this together. I'm going to give you this." And that way I did Your Excellency with him, Princess with him, King of Boys to Cash and Bill, a lot of others. Then 2022 I did King of Thieves.
King of Thieves.
Yes.
So you've done King of Boys, you also did King of Thieves.
All the kings are available.
Jagun Jagun, Brotherhood,
Gangs of Lagos.
Gangs of Lagos.
Everybody
all the
loves
musicals.
Jennifer.
Everybody loves Jennifer.
Yes.
So, you know, when I heard 7 Doors, automatically my mind went to epics.
Yes.
You know, because epic music or epic soundtracks have to have this, you know, ethnicity involved in it as well. Very deep sounds. And you know, we're very emotional people, Nigerians. So all the emotions have to come out in the music.
Yes.
But the others are like action sequences as well.
Yes.
So how do you find a balance? Where do you get your inspiration from?
Okay, so first, I think for a lot of movies, I think for different movies, different inspirations. So generally, I'm going to try as much as possible to categorize epic into one, then the urban and all of that into one. Now, for epics, what I thought of was, okay, we have a lot of these epics that just comes with, you remember what we used to do? Oba, this is not how you do. Oba, so, I mean, I felt like, okay, if this was going to go beyond the boundaries of Nigeria, Africa, then there has to be a fusion of the culture that we have with actually trying to make it break bounds. Just imagine Afrobeat with the way we used to play it, which is good, and what we have now, which is better. So I think that was what, I mean, prompted my style of creating music for epics. Like, it has to cross borders and it must carry our culture as it's crossing. So that was it for epics. And then for the urban, it's actually trying to interpret the emotions of Africans, Nigerians, differently from what it will be if a Tom Cruise or
So you know, you've actually gone where I was going, because we hear about musical score from amazing, with amazing directors like James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, and you hear whole orchestras, right?
Yes.
And so I was wondering if building your score here and a Hollywood movie, if there are any similarities, or what are the differences?
Of course, music is just 12 notes.
Okay.
The first similarity is we are about those 12. It's just how you use them. So first, I attempted to do something differently and not just use my piano. Was on Gangs of Lagos.
Okay.
So, and then from then, I didn't stop. Anytime I have the opportunity to, I try. In Gangs of Lagos, I had like an orchestra of drums. An orchestra of drums that was like 15 people playing.
Okay, for Gangs of Lagos?
Drums. Yes, for Gangs of Lagos.
Okay.
15 people played an orchestra of drums. I described to them what they are supposed to play. Okay, play this. If you listen to the opening of Gangs of Lagos, you realize that you just be hearing bang, 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 and it's not so on time. That's the human factor in trying to make music, than use the computer when everything is just quantized and so rigid. Fantastic. So I mean, that was the first time, and the next was Jagu Jagu. I went on set, had a whole of those babas playing me something,
with
and
the
then
talking
I recorded.
drums?
Yes, I recorded it, brought it back to the studio.
But was it the ambience of the set that helped, or do you always want a studio set to back up your sound? Because Africa, you know, we have a lot of interferences with our sound. So how do you achieve that?
So it works good for epics, because most epics are done in the thick bush that you won't have that interference of on and all that out there. So what I did the first time was to just go with my mics and gather people and like, please sing this for me, sing, and as much as possible, do noise gating, do a way of cleanups, and then I was hoping that it would come out good. And when I took it back to the studio, it was just amazing. So I built it from there.
Honestly, I also, by now you know I'm very interested in sound. I'm very interested in sound because I also edit audio myself. Not on the level that you do, but this is not Adobe Audition kind of editing. This is on another level
actually.
And this is also hearing something before it's even seen on screen. So the reaction to that people have to your soundtracks now, how does that make you feel? Because you never know how people are going to react. Okay,
first the first time I tried this, I was scared. I was like, okay, people don't make sounds like this. Am I sure it's going to be like generally accepted? That was during Prophetess. And lo and behold, the director and Dr. Bayo liked it. I was like, oh, you do? Okay, so let me just keep doing this. Then that was how I decided, like, okay, let me try something new for King of Thieves. You know, the normal Yoruba, you just hear this flute, and talking drum up and down. I was like, what happened to Troy? What happened to having a Nigerian sound, evoking those kind of orchestra, and then just making it big, deep, and banging, you know. So I tried it, and I mean, everybody liked it, and that was my break. Everybody like, okay, who did this sound? This is the sound, and that was my break. I don't think I've had another. I mean,
but you've had quite a lot of nominations. You were nominated, what, 7 times? When?
Yeah, 7 times in one. 3 in 2003 and 4 this year. 4
this year, amazing. So now you have one of these to put on your mantelpiece.
Well, thanks to Africa Magic, I'm going for more.
Yes, of course, and we're definitely here with you on this matter, because when we hear of personalities like yourself, it sort of gives us hope on the international scale that, so if anyone points to Nigeria, they basically point at you right now when it comes to musical score. But does that put pressure on you to build the next big score?
Okay, so I think the pressure will always be there. It's not just because I just won an award or I'm the face of maybe a music score for now. But I think each time I work on a project, I put down everything so that the next time I'm working on another, I feel empty and like, okay, what do I do next? I mean, that has helped to make sure that every project I work on is just good. You know, so there's no pressure more than it has always been, you know. So I hope that the next project comes again and I'm like, okay, what do I do? I think that's when I'm very sure that I'm doing the right thing.
So you've done action sequence sound, sound design, not engineering, sound design.
Yes.
You've also done musical score, but then you have other movies that are more on the comical side.
Yes.
You know, like Everybody Loves Jennifer.
Yes.
So I know that building that kind of sound is completely different from anything an epic would have.
Yes.
So without the sound, sometimes you feel like, you know, the comedy doesn't come out.
Yeah.
So do you have a comical side to you to be able to do that kind of sound?
So I think the first thing for every movie is talk to the director or the executive producer. Shout out to Femi Adebayo when I wanted to do all those epics. You know, they had an idea, then a big shout out to Mrs. Funke Akindele.
Of course.
I mean, when she starts shooting, she's already sending you the idea of sounds she wants.
Wow.
I mean, for like Tribe Called Judah, she literally wrote everything.
Wow.
Lyrics, everything, and like, okay, this is what I want for it. And I also want this kind of sound. I want drums, I want this. So for most of those things, you talk to the director first, and then you kind of like, okay, this is the idea we want. Then you build it even way above, I mean, what you've been asked to do.
Okay.
So talking to Auntie Funke for Everybody Loves Jennifer, I mean, she started sending me stuff when they started shooting, like, this place will be like this. And then even finishing, I was like, okay, for this place, I still think, I'm like, okay, cool, let's have it. We're in the studio together. So for the comic side, I did my best, and then I mean I was amazed at the reception and all that. I mean for some movies you finish them and like, am I really done? You go back to it like last minute before you send it, last minute before you do it. But for most of those, for Auntie Funke, for example, I had time. Okay. So there was going and coming, but very, very good and mild. So I mean that's
so before we wrap it up, we know that in the abroad, Hollywood, they spend probably like a year, 2 years scoring movies. But how long does it take you on average?
Okay. Okay, so let me just use a random. If it's normal urban and all that, it should take like 4-6 weeks. Normally we should have like 6 months. Okay. I had time on Lisha B. I had to go to and fro with Latif Adedimeji, who also knows what he's doing, by the way. Of course. You know, he's always there to like, please, so what's the sound like? And on phone, he's calling, how is it like, okay, relax, but you can come and check then. You know, so we had time on Lisha B.
Amazing.
We had a shorter time on,
you keep saying the word time, and I know that right now time is of essence. It's time for us to head to the kitchen at this point. But we have to take this award with us, so we cannot leave it here. Please carry it here.
Okay,
please.
Am I taking it with me?
Yeah, I honestly, I'll gladly take it from you, but
okay, no, let
fine.
me have it. Thank you.
Congratulations once again. Let's take a stroll.